Former National Security Minister and Tory MP Tugendhat has shared a striking analysis of the current shifting dynamics in the Middle East. He argues that we're witnessing the collapse of the Iranian regime's long-standing strategy of control and terror, a strategy that has dominated the region for decades. Tugendhat rightly argues that Iran's power has relied on its proxies like Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Assad regime in Syria. These groups, he claims, have been tools of violence and corruption, sustaining Tehran's influence without having genuine popular support. In Gaza, Tugendhat highlights how Hamas maintained control through daily acts of violence and intimidation, even stealing aid meant for Palestinians to enrich its leaders. In Lebanon, Tugendhat names Hezbollah as one of the world's largest drug dealers networks who use these funds to buy weapons and extend Iran's reach. Tugendhat correctly points out that drugs like captagon, akin to fentanyl, were used to generate revenue, destroying lives in the Middle East and around the world. In Syria, the Bashar Assad regime, propped up by Hezbollah and Iran and Russia, inflicted atrocities on its own people, from mass killings to chemical weapon attacks to barrel bombings of its own civilians. However, Tugendhat sees signs of hope. He sees Iran losing its coordination of proxies and the proxies being dismantled. For example, Tugendhat suggests that Hamas's recent attacks on Israel, while brutal, reflect a miscalculation of their strength. Meanwhile, Assad's regime is losing support from Russia, with cities like Aleppo slipping out of its control and Damascus being potentially on the horizon next. Tugendhat argues that the collapse of Assad's regime would deal a devastating blow to the Iranian regime, which already faces growing internal and external pressure. He believes this could lead to a broader liberation in the region, freeing Lebanon, Syria, Iraq and Yemen from Tehran's grip too. He also emphasises the global implications. The fall of Tehran's proxies would weaken adversaries like Russia, China and North Korea, depriving them of critical allies and resources. For the UK, it would reduce the threat of terrorism at home too. Tugendhat calls on the international community to maintain pressure on the Iranian regime and support the Iranian people in their struggle for freedom. He views the Islamic Revolution as a catastrophe for Iran, the region and the world, and sees its end as an opportunity for peace and stability. In his words, anyone who believes in the true decolonization should celebrate the crumbling of what he calls the Ayatollah's evil empire. I've been a fan of Tugendhat for a long time. I think because he served in Afghanistan and Iraq in the military, he understands the region well and has a much better grasp of international politics than most of his colleagues and civil servants. I wish Tugendhat was elected to be the leader of the Tory party, but it wasn't. My only reservation about Tugendhat's recent analysis of the Middle East is about the rebel outfit that is fighting Assad at the moment. It's a branch of Al-Qaeda called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS for short, or the Levant Liberation Group, or Levant Liberation Committee, however you want to translate it. HTS is designated as a terrorist organisation by the United Kingdom and the United States. It is listed under its former name, Jabhat al-Nusra, also known as Al-Nusra Front, which was the official Syrian affiliate of the Al-Qaeda before rebranding. Despite subsequent name changes and rebranding efforts, the group remains sanctioned under UK terrorism laws. We can't liberate people from a dictatorial regime by resorting to another terrorist group. We've all seen the consequences of using Islamists to topple the Soviet Union or Gaddafi in Libya. Going to bed with these groups has consequences in the long run, and there must be provisions made for it. As always, interested to hear your views in the comments. I do read all your comments and try to reply. Thanks for watching.